Good morning. It's Wednesday, March 14th. Many of the people who traveled to the Boston Seafood Show have either got home or are traveling back today, and we thought it'd be appropriate to give some final thoughts. It was a very successful show, but one thing is really clear. It's turning into a buyer's market for seafood in 2012. For 3 days we talked about the influx of Chinese companies into the show. Some of these were brokers, some of them were seeking representatives in the U.S. market. But also there were a lot of European companies that wanted to sell product into the U.S. who were at the show this year as well. And the result is, that result is obviously being driven by weaknesses that people fear in the European market. In particular, credit issues. The European seafood market is very heavily dependent upon buyers obtaining credit lines in order for them to purchase product. And as we all know, credit tightening in Europe due to the precarious situation of the banks has been a real problem. And this is one of the things, along with the general economic slowdown that's happening there, that is making the European seafood market a less attractive destination, not just for the companies that export into Europe, but for the European producers themselves. And as a result, more of them are looking at the U.S. So what does this mean when you back off from it? I think it's very healthy. There's a lot of demand for seafood in the U.S. Because it becomes a buyer's market, that's not a bad thing. It means that we can expand consumption, we can do promotions, we can develop more value-added products, all of which are quite healthy. So all in all, this was the trend that we saw in Boston. Finally, there's one other thing that really caught my eye, which we're going to be writing about in the future, which is, look at Maine. All of a sudden, Maine is full of seafood processing. Here's a place where the groundfish industry is really atrophied, where they're dependent on a single species, really lobster, and yet up and down the state we're seeing a proliferation of high-quality, value-added products coming out of Maine, whether it's based on the cold water shrimp fishery, whether it's based on lobster, whether it's a lobster bisque, a lobster pie, or some other type of processed products. In addition to the sort of standard companies like Bristol, like Cozy Harbor, like Shucks, who have been around for years, there are a number of new startups or smaller companies that are now connecting with companies like Whole Foods or Hannaford's or others, and providing a strong base for a resurgence of seafood manufacturing in Maine. One of our stories today picked up on that with the Look Gourmet, which used to be Look's Canning Company and is now revived and won a Small Business Award for their successful development of their seafood specialty products. All in all, very healthy. In Lexington, Mass., this is John Sackton.